Hi, welcome to session 4 of the videos for the improv class, guitar improv class. Um, I'm under the impression from our last class that you guys still need a little bit of time to work on the videos from the last session, so I'm going to try not to introduce too much new material um, this time, but I do so that you can have a chance to catch up. But I do want to introduce complete diatonic scales today. So I'll do that, and I'll try not to make it too long, but I'll give you a couple positions of diatonic scales to work with. So when I say diatonic scale, what I mean is a group of 7 notes that belong together in a family, so to speak, and when placed in a linear fashion, step by step, they form what you probably have heard referred to as a major scale. The reason I call it a diatonic scale rather than just a major scale is because the diatonic scale actually has more than one use, so or more than one viewpoint that it can be heard and understood from, and a major scale is one of those. So in order to encompass the other usages and viewpoints, I call it a more broad term, which is diatonic scale. So I'm going to start by looking at the guitar and looking at what a diatonic scale actually is, or a major scale. I'm going to start from a major scale perspective, and just because F is a note that's down here at the low end of my fretboard, I'm going to start with F, and I'm going to play an F major scale. So I'm going to have 7 notes, and they're all going to be a whole step apart, except for between the 3rd and 4th note and the 7th and 8th note. So it's going to be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. There's my half step between 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the 8th note is really 1 again, because it's an octave higher than this note. So it's another, I'm back to F, so I can call that 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Going back, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So notice there's only 2 places where there's half steps. Right here between 3 and 4, and right here between 7, 1. Okay, so that's what a major scale looks like. Some of you might be familiar with it by thinking of a whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. That's fine too. I like the numerical way better myself. It's less confusing. I just think 3, 4, 7, 1, and I know that's where to put the half steps. Okay, so usually though, we don't play, although we could. We could play up and down one string, but we usually don't, for too long anyway. Sometimes it's convenient to cut that scale up into little sections and put one section on each string so that we can play across the neck in one position. So that's what we're going to do. But first, before I do that, let me just say that that's an F scale. We did that, and we could do that starting anywhere on any note. Like say we want to make a D scale, and so I'll just start on this D on the 2nd string, 3rd fret, and I'm going to make a D scale the same way, and just counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So it's exactly the same structure that I had before, so I can play a D scale without even knowing what the notes of a D scale are, as long as I know how to find my starting note, and I know to put the half steps between 3/4 and 7/1. So let's move to another key now. Let's take a G major scale. Also, you might be wondering, why are the half steps where they are, and why are there 7 notes? Those are really good questions that I plan to answer in a little theory video, but for right now, we're not going to get into that. We're just going to accept that that's the way it is, but those would be great questions to be answered in a little theory video that I plan to make. So, getting back to the G major scale, I'm going to start out here on G, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then if I continue down below 1, I have another 7. So 7, 1 is a half step. 1, 7, 6 is my open E string. 6, 7, 1. Okay? So, like I said, there's 2 places where you'll find a half step. And those 2 places are going to be a key or a point of reference for finding the 2 positions that I'm going to show you today. So the first one I'm going to show you is when you put your finger 1 and 2 on the half step between 7 and 1. Alright, so your second finger goes on the 1, your first finger goes on the 7 of the 7 notes in the scale. Alright? Now that's going to give you a position that looks like this. Here I am back to the 1 and the 7. Because this is an E string and this is an E string, you're going to have the same 7/1 on both strings. Okay, so another way to find this is to put your second finger on the bass root if you prefer. Either way, you're going to end up with this pattern. Okay, if I start on the 7, I'm going to get a finger. This is my fingering now. 1, 2, 4. Next string. 1, 2, 4. Next string. 1, 3, 4. Next string. 1, 3, 4. Next string. 2, 4. Next string. 1, 2, 4. Okay, and that's the complete position. And I ended on the root there of the major, just for give the major sound. Sometimes I refer to this as shape 7 because the lowest note in the position is the 7th scale degree of the major. So for identification purposes, we could use that shape 7. Now this doesn't always have to be used as a G major scale. If we start on the E, the same exact notes can be heard as an E minor scale. Now I can add the low E if I want there, open. Okay, and likewise, actually any of the notes can be heard as the home note, and that's what the modes are. If you've heard of modes, modes are just taking a diatonic scale and making it so that different notes, each mode has a different note of the diatonic scale that sounds like home. It sounds like home because of what chords are behind it, or because of what note you're centering around in your melodic movements. Okay, so that's one position. Okay, now I'm going to move up the string, the first string, till I find the next half step occurrence on this string. So here I am on 7, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's my other half step, 3, 4. Okay, so this position that has 3, 4 under the fingers 1 and 2. Okay, finger 1 on the 3, finger 2 on the 4. But by that I mean the 4th scale degree and the 3rd scale degree. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's very similar to the other shape, but it has a difference right here. And down here also. Okay, this one has the root of the major under the 4th finger, 5th string. Hopefully that rings a bell with you because you learned a pentatonic position that had the major root under the 4th finger on the 5th string. It looked like this. It sounded like this. Okay, so all we're going to do is take that pentatonic position and fill in the missing notes. And we get a complete diatonic scale. So the fingering here, starting from this is actually what I call shape 3 sometimes, because the 3rd note of the major, if G is our 1, 1, 2, 3, okay, 3rd scale degree is the lowest note I can reach in this position. So we have, starting on scale degree 3, we have fingering 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4. Going back, 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 3, 1, 4, 3, 1, 4, 2, 1. There's our major root right there. Okay, so those are the 2 positions that I would like you to learn. The reason that I'm showing you those 2 first is because, one thing, they might be all you ever need if you learn how to connect them. And second of all, they're the 2 easiest ones because they don't involve any stretching or shifting of the fingers. They're the only 2 that don't. The other 5 all have some kind of stretching or shifting necessary to go across the neck. So again, shape 7 has the lowest note as the 7th scale degree of the major, if you're thinking of it in terms of major. And I'm going to show it to you again. Okay, then move up to 3, 4, either on the high E string or the low E string. And we have this shape. Okay. So those are the 2 positions. So next we're going to put those to use a little bit.